Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone can become an immortal, everyone can become a god. This is the era of all people lords, where immortals and gods walk among us, and myths are real. Wu Qi has traveled to a parallel world and entered this exciting era where races clash for dominion and blood is spilled. He holds a mysterious treasure that can mutate all territory buildings. White Lord's Heart, Golden Lord's Heart. Unlock legendary abilities, open the gate to heaven. Farming field, spiritual field, output x 1000%. Growth rate x 1000%. Well, moon well, instant health recovery. Instant mana recovery. Arrow Tower, Element Tower, unleash magical power that shatters worlds. Barracks, Immortal Cultivation Academy, 3000 Sword Immortals fear no battle. Wu Qi, wealth, power, strength, beauty. I want it all. Chapter 1 The Era of All People Lords. Next up. Wu Qi. Silver Moon City, 81st floor of the Heavenly Staircase, a middle-aged man in a silver crane robe and blue scarf called out. His voice wasn't loud, but it boomed, resonating in everyone's ears. The crowd at the bottom of the staircase watched him, silent. Those in line looked up. At the front of the line, a young man stepped forward to the middle-aged man. He was handsome, with short hair, a strong face, and calm eyes. The middle-aged man glanced at him, then at a scroll in his hand. Xuanhuan High School, Senior 3-5, Class, age 16, Wu Qi. Correct? Yes, Wu Qi confirmed. The middle-aged man stepped aside, gesturing for him to approach. Behind him was a floating altar. An ancient altar, weathered and worn, yet exuding a powerful aura, as if immortals had once sought enlightenment here. Wu Qi took a deep breath and stepped onto it. The middle-aged man didn't waste words. He opened a silk book and began to solemnly recite the prayer to heaven. Today is the Ascension Festival. This man is the guide for Silver Moon City's Ascension Festival. His job is to guide the young people in praying to heaven, obtain the Lord's heart, and become a Lord. The central square was packed, mostly with relatives of those in line, and a few spectators. The atmosphere was solemn, and everyone's eyes were fixed on the young man on the altar. With varying expressions, Wu Qi listened to the guide's voice, feeling the weight of countless gazes, and his heart was a mix of emotions. He had finally made it to this day. He was a time traveler. His past life was irrelevant now. After traveling through time and space, Wu Qi found himself as a newborn. He was both surprised and happy, surprised that time travel had happened to him. Happy because he had a new life, a clean slate, and with his memories, this life could be amazing. If he were in a historical world, he could write poems, invent cement, glass, gunpowder, find new crops, and maybe even become an emperor with a harem of beauties. If he were in a modern world, he could copy ideas, start a company, exploit his past life's knowledge of business opportunities, get rich, and say, "I'm not interested in money on TV." But as Wu Qi grew, he understood this era and abandoned those dreams. This world was the age of universal lords. Every earthling could become a lord, enter the endless void, build a territory, and gain everything by developing it. This was an era of limitless possibilities for lords. Everyone could become a god, everyone could become an immortal. Being a lord was the only path, and copying or business were pointless. After traveling to this world, Wu Qi naturally wanted to become a lord. To pray to the sky and obtain the Lord's heart, you needed a certain level of soul strength. Most people reached that level between 16 and 18. So, Wu Qi waited until a month ago when he turned 16 and his soul strength qualified, and he signed up for this year's Ascension Festival. The Heaven Ascension Festival was exactly what it sounded like, a fast track to success. At this time of year, the country held these ceremonies on the staircases in cities to pray for all humans who qualified to obtain the Lord's heart. The Lord's heart was the core of a lord, the foundation for developing their territory. The hearts people received varied, but always included a territory characteristic. The quality of that characteristic determined the Lord's potential. Although there were infinite possibilities in this era, even the worst characteristic could lead to immortality and godhood, but that was extremely rare. Generally, the stronger the characteristic, the better. Wu Qi felt nervous, excited to get his lord's heart, but also worried about a poor characteristic. The territory characteristic determined the color of the Lord's heart. A gray Lord's heart was inferior. A white Lord's heart was ordinary. A green Lord's heart was rare. A blue Lord's heart was excellent. A purple Lord's heart was epic. A golden Lord's heart was legendary. Most people got inferior or ordinary hearts. Without massive luck, their future was limited. Some received rare or excellent hearts. If they worked hard, they might become powerful, but only a few would truly succeed. Very few got epic hearts, but they had a good chance of becoming immortals and gods. Immortality was within reach. The rarest legendary heart guaranteed godhood, and even greater things beyond. Throughout history, Golden Heart Lords became myths. The immortal King Zhang Byron created the 9th level of the immortal realm, and his territory, Heavenly Court, was visited by countless immortals. The Taoist Master Li Er developed Taoism. His territory was Shangqing Cave Heaven, and the Dharma spread everywhere. The Bodhisattva Tantai Xian raised a Buddha land with his palm, and his wonderful Buddha land saved all beings. The God King Jehovah created the Garden of Eden and Heaven, where believers ascended to eternal life. The God King Artemis ruled from Mount Olympus, and her moon palace controlled the stars. The Lord of Truth, Karina, wandered the void, her tower of truth hunting evil gods. In this era, myths were real. Immortal gods were among them. Chapter 2 Goldfinger. This was an era of immortals, where the heavens fought and races competed. Worlds, universes, dimensions, and planes collided in the endless void, and there was war. Wu Qi was excited, but kept it hidden. He clenched his fists, waiting. Finally, the guide finished the prayers to heaven. The altar glowed brightly, turning into mist, carrying the ancient Taoist rhythm, lifting Wu Qi into the air. The way of heaven is clear, and the human race will prosper, that the guide shouted. The mist transformed into traces of Dao Yun, pouring into Wu Qi. A faint light shimmered. This is. Wu Qi's eyes widened, feeling changes in his body, life, and soul. It was mysterious and wonderful. After what felt like an eternity, Wu Qi woke up. He fell to the altar. In his palm, a white light appeared, Lord's heart. An ordinary Lord's heart. That the guide nodded calmly. Ordinary hearts were common. Wu Qi looked disappointed. He wasn't a chosen one, nor useless. Just average. After so many years of anticipation, the result was cruel. Wu Qi turned pale, stiff. Seeing his expression, the guide sighed and comforted him. Don't lose heart. Ordinary lords have become immortals before. The endless void has infinite possibilities. Maybe you'll find a treasure right away. That Wu Qi calmed down. He was experienced and didn't break down. Thank you. Wu Qi cupped his fist, and walked down the staircase with the Lord's heart. People watched him go with different expressions. Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But nobody cracked up. Next. Shanghai. Back home, Wu Qi flopped on the couch, staring at the plain white Lord's heart in his hand, a bitter taste in his mouth. Figures, right? There are tons of main characters. My folks are alive and kicking. I don't have any hot sisters, and I haven't stumbled on a golden ticket in 16 years. Now all Qi Tian got was just some run-of-the-mill Lord's heart. A drop in the bucket, lost in the crowd. That's me. He closed his eyes and thought for a second, then he snapped them open, his eyes burning with ambition. But I gotta get my head in the game. The infinite void, the heavens, all realms, every race. This is a world of crazy action, a real free-for-all. I got a do-over. I lucked out, no need to get greedy. Besides, in this era of universal lordship and endless possibilities, what's the point of living if you don't take a shot? Raw power, immortality, a mountain of babes, unstoppable strength, and piles of cash. I want it all. Wu Qi sat up, shaking off his funk. He stopped stalling and snatched up the Lord's heart. The moment he thought about it, the heart blazed with light, turning into streams of energy that shot into his body. Then, a virtual info panel popped into Wu Qi's head. Lord, territory, descent, lord, and territory, are abilities granted by the Lord's heart, helping the master stay informed and control everything in their territory. As for descent, that's the gateway to the endless void, the starting block for every lord's endless journey. I gotta grab my rewards from school later. Let's check out my stats first. My territory perk, fingers crossed it's a good one. Wu Qi sighed to himself and opened, territory, unnamed, belongs to, Wu Qi, level, 1, area, 200 square meters, approximate 2,150 square feet, owned buildings, cabin, level 1, fence, level 1, residence, 0. Territory perk, double virgin, before the endless void opens up, every lord starts with the same basic territory, 200 square meters and 2 basic buildings. Wu Qi was mainly interested in the territory perk. Double virgin. What the heck is that? Wu Qi's face fell and he groaned. Double virgin. Quality, average, attributes, all female residents in the territory receive plus 10% to all stats. Description, the frustration of being a virgin for 2 lifetimes manifested into this outstanding perk. What's wrong with being a virgin? That's a territory perk now. Wu Qi felt like he was gonna puke. He'd heard stories about territory perks being all kinds of weird, and practically no two were alike. There were always some head-scratchers. One guy's territory perk was hidden poison in feces, turning his residents' poop into deadly poison. The Lord made a killing selling the stuff and became known as the Poison Poop King. Compared to that dude, Wu Qi's territory perk was pretty tame. All stats plus 10%. If only it wasn't limited to female residents. Wu Qi wasn't too bummed out. You couldn't expect a pure white lord's heart and territory perk to be too messed up. Next, he opened, Lord, to check his own stats. Wu Qi, territory, unnamed. Race, human, level, 1, constitution, 0.9. Spirit, 1.5, inventory, mechanical kidney, description, normal adult baseline stat value is 1, totally average panel. The only thing that stood out was his spirit. Probably from the time travel, Wu Qi's spirit was way higher than normal. Hold on. Is there something in my inventory? Mechanical kidney. Wu Qi was a bit confused. Every newborn lord has an inventory, but they all start empty. Wu Qi had read it online, heard it in school, same conclusion. So, why did he have something extra? Wu Qi's heart hammered in his chest, and 3 words exploded in his mind, golden ticket. Chapter 3 World Wonders. Gold Legend. 3/4. Please collect it. Golden ticket. Wu Qi had been chanting those 3 words for over a decade. From the second he realized he'd time-traveled, he'd been on cloud 9. He spent years trying everything, but nothing came of it. He'd given up, but now, when it rains, it pours. Bring it out. Wu Qi took a deep breath and focused, pulling a mechanical object into his palm. It was about the size of 2 fists, completely mechanical in color, and shaped like a human kidney. Wu Qi tried to probe the mysterious thing, but all he got was question marks. He couldn't help but doubt himself, and weighed it in his hands. Do I need to do a blood oath, or connect it to some system? Just as Wu Qi reached for a clean dagger, the mechanical kidney shook, and a stream of info flooded into Wu Qi's mind. Bind? Yes, / no, a prompt. Wu Qi's eyes lit up. He tried asking, mechanical kidney. Can we talk? System. Boss. Master. No luck. After a second, Wu Qi chose, yes, without hesitation. The mechanical kidney lit up with rainbow light and revealed its stats on the panel. Mechanical kidney, type, world wonder, quality, legend. Info incomplete, temporarily classified as legendary, attributes, unknown, description, a mysterious world wonder, possibly the core of a destroyed universe, with unpredictable power. A world wonder. Wu Qi was in shock. His teacher had explained about world wonders. A world wonder is a unique treasure. It might be born naturally, created by heaven, or produced by the universe. It has all kinds of bizarre properties. A world wonder enhances the properties of an entire territory, making it more valuable than immortal treasures and artifacts. 7 years ago, there was a news report about a lord who'd found a world wonder in some broken world ruins during his descent into the endless void. He put it up for auction, and 173 immortals showed up. Instant millionaire, that's all. Jackpot. World wonder. Nobody at Xuanhuan has won, students or teachers. Not even the director or principal are likely to have this kind of treasure. That Wu Qi felt lightheaded with excitement. The World Wonder auction 7 years ago was only green quality. This golden legend quality of his is, like, 100 million times better. Right? Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The woman in red floated barefoot, her beautiful face etched with a cold, almost palpable pressure. The students held their breath, listening intently. Claim your rewards. That she held a stream of light in her hand and released it. It exploded into countless shimmering specks, filling the hall. Then, a single spark landed before each student. It swelled, expanding into a luminous orb. Poof, star. The light faded, revealing small items. Some received finger-sized models of buildings, an altar, barracks. Others got 10 black crystals, each the size of a fingernail. Territorial buildings and void crystals. Wu Qi's eyes darted around as he swept the items into his inventory. This was the standard newbie package, the same for everyone. First. The woman in red spoke again, her voice cool and crisp, sending a shiver down their spines. Congratulations on becoming lords, and officially entering this new era. That it was a blessing, and the formerly tense students visibly relaxed, a surge of excitement washing over them. In this era of national lords, only by becoming one could you truly experience its full potential. I'm sure you've learned plenty at school. Still, things might surprise you, so I'd like to offer a few reminders. New lords, the first month is a trial period, and it won't be easy. If things get too tough, escape the void immediately. Remember, don't take unnecessary risks. But if you're confident, this first month is also your best shot to make it big. Most of you come from ordinary families. I think you understand the importance of this opportunity. The woman calmly outlined the trials ahead. Every new lord went through this initial 30-day void trial. During those 30 days, you could only bring a maximum of 2 territorial buildings and a limited amount of resources. Survive those 30 days, and the void would evaluate you and grant you a reward. For the Silver Spoon kids, this was just icing on the cake. Nice to have, but no big deal if they didn't. But for the rest of you, this could be your shot at changing your life. Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for regular people to level up. We can't blow it. This trial period sounds crazy dangerous. I think I'll play it safe. The void monster waves are relentless. I might not even survive the first one. No way. We need to ration our resources carefully. Like they taught us, survive the initial push, collect enough void crystals, then use the altar and barracks to fight fire with fire. Get stronger, little by little. Honestly, if you get lucky, 30 days shouldn't be that bad. The real challenge is performing well and getting a good evaluation. The students immediately broke out into conversation. Some were hyped, their ambitions practically radiating off them, ready for war. Others looked hesitant, apprehensive about the risks. Still others were indifferent, adopting a whatever happens attitude. Almost everyone present was from a middle-class background. The wealthier families wouldn't be caught dead collecting freebies from the government. They'd be buying better buildings outright. Of course, resource limitations meant even they couldn't get anything too crazy at the start, just some high-end level 1 buildings. Even so, they had a major advantage over the rest. Seeing the diverse reactions, Wu Qi smirked. The poor fear the rich fear the talented. And the talented fear being taken advantage of. Well, Mr. Wu feared nothing. Quiet. The woman in red spoke again, her lovely voice soft but filled with authority, silencing the hall instantly. She paused, seemingly hesitant. Finally, she waved her hand and said, if any of you think you have territories with unique qualities, there are investment contracts available outside the hall. As soon as she finished, the woman in red dissolved into mist and disappeared. Once she was gone, the students erupted, all of them looking surprised. Did she just endorse investment proposals? I thought she was totally against students getting involved with corporate vultures. Haven't you heard? Last year, a bunch of parents took her to court. Yeah, they thought she was preventing people from getting rich. Those parents only cared about themselves and not their kids' futures. I get it, though. Getting investment, even if it means becoming a vassal lord down the line, is still better than nothing. That the students chatted as they filed out of the hall. Wu Qi followed. Just outside the door, he glanced at a bulletin board. It was plastered with investment contracts. Penguin Group is seeking promising lords. Rare quality or above a must. Contract details. Xuanhuan Technologies is recruiting tech-oriented lords. Flesh is weak, machines are strong. Contract details. The War Maniacs Guild is recruiting war-focused lords. World War every year. The next world champion could be you. Contract details. The Rosemary Foundation seeks members with rare or higher quality territories and unique features. Universal sharing and 16 evil god sequences included. Contract details. P.S. Please collect. Please collect. Please collect. Chapter 6, here we go. The Endless Void. 2/4. Please collect. Investment contracts were a way for powerful organizations to recruit talent. The Lord's heart didn't care about your background, your status, or your past. That's why you sometimes saw poor kids rise to power, geniuses bloom from the most unexpected places. If they signed a contract, they could get a massive boost in starting resources and even a fast track to the top. However, the price was sacrificing some control over their territory, forever sharing a portion of their earnings with their investors. Trading future potential for immediate gain. This investment contract system was common overseas. New lords in foreign countries didn't get any government assistance. They just got a pile of contracts and had to sink or swim. Back home, the leaders initially resisted this, offering newbie rewards to empower ordinary families to control their own destiny. But you can't legislate morality. The principal of Xuanhuan High School, the beautiful woman in red, was strongly against it, but too many students and parents pushed back. In the end, they had to allow investment contracts as an option, while still making them non-compulsory. No matter how you slice it, these contracts just scream pyramid scheme. That Wu Qi would definitely steer clear. He turned and walked away. After leaving school, Wu Qi bought some food and water. Due to the newbie trial restrictions, he couldn't carry too many buildings, void crystals, or supplies. In the end, Wu Qi bought enough provisions to last 100 people a month. Back home, he showered, changed into a black suit, and strapped the alloy sword that usually hung in the bedroom around his waist. It was just a standard issue sword. He walked to the living room and opened the Lord's heart panel in his mind. Lord, territory, descend. The third option seemed to shimmer enticingly. Wu Qi took a deep breath and clicked it. Territory detected. Do you wish to descend into the endless void? Yes, / no. Yes. Beginning descent. Suddenly, Wu Qi's vision went dark. The heavens, the myriad worlds, the endless void. Legend had it that the void was the end of all worlds and universes. When a world came to an end, when a universe died, it would be buried in the endless void. Therefore, the endless void held unimaginable wealth, infinite possibilities, and unspeakable horrors. Descend was how lords entered the endless void. It plunged their territory into the boundless void world, at a random location, with random opportunities and dangers. However, there was one immutable law in the endless void, the Libra. The stronger your territory, the more people you had, the greater the threats you would face. New lords wouldn't be dropped in areas where they were guaranteed to die. Cold and hard. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wu Qi woke up on the hard ground, shivering. Where am I? He looked around, spotting a wooden fence enclosing a small area, maybe 200 square meters. Inside was a single wooden shack. This was it. His whole domain. Not even a decent-sized village. Guess I'm really starting from scratch. He clapped his hands, ready to get to work. Suddenly, a flood of information slammed into his mind. New Lord, welcome to the Endless Void. The newcomer trial begins. For the next 30 days, waves of monsters will attack daily, growing stronger each day. Slay monsters to earn void rewards. Quitting will result in immediate failure. No penalty, no reward. Lords who survive the 30 days will receive void rewards based on their performance. Wu Qi had learned about all this in class, but hearing it himself sent a jolt of excitement through him. He took a deep breath, wasting no time, and pulled 2 building blueprints from his inventory. Altar, barracks. Altar, let's do this. He tossed the altar blueprint. It grew larger and larger in the air, until it transformed into an ancient altar, landing with a thud near the shack. No void crystals to recruit troops yet. Let's summon a hero first. He grabbed 10 void crystals and headed over. As soon as he stepped onto the altar steps, an attribute panel popped up in his mind. Altar plus, level, 1, 0 out of 100, function, summon, 10, advanced summon, 100, hero, none, description, consume void crystals to summon creatures from across the realms to fight for you. The altar has a plus sign too. Wait a minute. Could my mechanical kidney actually work in this trial? Chapter 7 Lin Daiyu, strong enough to conquer mountains, March 4th. Please collect. New lords entering the Endless Void for the first time automatically begin the newcomer trial. This is the Void's gift for newbies. Survive 30 days, and you'll get void rewards. The better you do, the better the rewards. Newcomer trials are often a golden opportunity for ordinary folks to hit the jackpot. But if the newbie trial is so restrictive, wouldn't relic level items be blocked? Wu Qi's heart pounded in his chest. This might actually work. If that's the case, surviving 30 days won't be that hard, and I could even get killer rewards. He studied the altar attribute panel and tapped the plus sign without hesitation. Instantly, the ancient, rundown altar was engulfed in a rainbow glow. That was the mechanical kidney at work. Wu Qi quickly jumped back. The glow faded, revealing a small, 2-story red building with red curtains hanging at the windows, mahogany stairs, and a plaque above the ancient door with 5 bold characters, the 12 Beauties Pavilion. What the? Wu Qi felt a pang in his gut. Why did this look so much like something from his past life? He quickly checked the new building stats. The 12 Beauties Pavilion, building type, altar, level, 1, 1/200, function, summon, 10, advanced summon, 100, hero, none, description, a special altar that can summon unique and exclusive heroes. The 12 Beauties Pavilion, the 12 Beauties of Jinling, could it really be? But even if I summon characters from that novel, how would they help me? Wu Qi's face darkened, but then he remembered the power of his mechanical kidney and calmed down. A golden ticket that can change white characteristics to golden and ignore the rules of the Endless Void can't be all bad. Summon one and find out. With a surge of resolve, Wu Qi stepped into the red building. It was an antique-style building. The hall decorated with a table, chairs, a teapot, and 2 white porcelain cups. Wu Qi turned, sat down, took out 10 void crystals, and placed them on the table. Summon. Buzz. The void crystals turned to dust in an instant. The next moment, an inky color washed over the pavilion. Ink lines formed a picture scroll, displaying blurred figures. Some had gold outlines, some silver, and most had copper. Copper outlines were the most common, silver rarer, and gold the rarest. Suddenly, the figures began to glow. Extracting. The light and shadow stopped, focusing on a beautiful figure leaning against a snowy tree. Hero acquired, Lin Daiyu. The picture scroll vanished, the inky color fading away, as a soft voice echoed. A woman of extraordinary beauty slowly materialized in the chair across from Wu Qi. Frowning in vain, blaming the east wind. Her eyes welled with tears, a hint of sadness etched on her delicate face. Her pretty nose twitched slightly above her alluring eyes, and her thin, crimson lips parted to speak in a voice like pearls dropping on a plate, sweet and crisp. Lin Daiyu, at your service. No way. It's actually Sister Lin. That Wu Qi's face twitched, his expression a mix of emotions. Lin Daiyu, known as Sickly Beauty, was famed for her beauty, literary talent, and intelligence, but here's the problem, she was sickly and couldn't even hold a chicken. How could he fight void monsters with her? I'm doomed. That Wu Qi's spirit sank. Just then, Lin Daiyu noticed Wu Qi's expression and asked softly, "Young master, do you know of me?" "I do. I know something." Wu Qi sighed, jade belts lost in the forest, gold hairpins buried in the snow. It seemed none of these stunning beauties ever had a happy ending. He remembered that Lin Daiyu had cried herself to death from sadness, a truly tragic end. So the young master knows about me. After death, I found life in that family unbearable. Now that I have a new life, my mood is much calmer. Lin Daiyu offered a consoling smile, sensing Wu Qi's sadness at her fate. Little did she know, this was a disaster. Sister Lin's fighting ability was worse than that of a goose. How could she fight monsters? Was this hero alter a mistake? Wu Qi screamed inwardly. After a moment's hesitation, he checked Lin Daiyu's attribute panel, and he was flabbergasted. Lin Daiyu, identity, hero, race, human, quality, golden legend, level, 1. Bloodline, crimson pearl immortal grass, +1. Talent, overpowering the world, +1. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bond, Jinling 12 Beauties. Physique, 200, base, 20, multiplier, 1000%, spirit, 11, base, 1.1, multiplier, 1000%, bio, reborn. Lin Daiyu vows to stop the waterworks and become a boss with the strength to move mountains and the guts to rule the world. Chapter 8, Legendary Talent. Legendary Bloodline. The Power of Bonds. 4/4. Please collect. Jinling 12 Beauties +1. Bloodline Quality, Golden Legend, Attribute, Rebirth through Blood. As long as you're not dead, you can quickly recover blood and energy. Bio, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Strength to move mountains, guts to rule the world +1. Talent Quality, Golden Legend, Attribute, greatly increases base physique and physique growth. Bio, uprooting a willow tree is child's play. Jinling 12 Beauties. Bond Quality, Blue, Bond Attribute, when the 12 beauties of Jinling fight together, each additional member grants +10 to physique, +10 to spirit, and +1 to luck. Current bond bonus, none. Bio, One Punch Wu Killer. Wu Qi. WTF. He's got so many questions. Lin Daiyu uprooted a willow. She's got the strength to move mountains and the guts to rule the world. Daiyu can crush mountains and rivers with a single punch. Hold up, gotta process this. Wu Qi rubbed his temples, staring at Lin Daiyu's ridiculous stat sheet. At level 1, she boasts a base physique of 20. Combined with her bloodline talent, her combat power is off the charts. With Wu Qi's golden territory buff, Lin Daiyu is even more OP, her stats amped up tenfold. It's like 100 Wu Kais trying to take down a single Daiyu. But, is this even the same character? He eyed Lin Daiyu, who was petite, a little sickly, and frowning slightly, beyond the breathtaking beauty, that she looks like she's on death's door. Sir, is something wrong? Lin Daiyu glanced up, smiling faintly. No, nothing's wrong. Wu Qi cleared his throat. Since you're the hero I summoned, you should know what's going on, right? Lin Daiyu nodded softly. I know some things. Wisdom flickered in her eyes, and she smiled again. Sir, would you like to discuss the monster attack tomorrow? Yes, Wu Qi nodded, waving his hand. The first day shouldn't be too rough, especially with you around. I'm a lot more confident about what's coming. But, the battles will be bloody and brutal. Daiyu, brace yourself. I have tasted death in my body and death in my heart, so you don't have to worry. Lin Daiyu replied softly, her bright eyes meeting Wu Qi's gaze. She then leaned back lazily, propping herself up against the table, one hand supporting her chin, the other twirling a strand of black hair. A smile played on her delicate face, tinged with sadness, stubbornness, and determination. her extreme beauty, when seen up close, made Wuqi's heart pound, his mind go blank. The modern beauties of his past life paled in comparison to the beauties of this world, and in his 16 years in this life, the only beauty who came close to Lin Daiyu was the woman known as Fairy Yunmeng of Silvermoon City, the principal of Shinha High School, the woman in red. Sir, quit spacing out. Lin Daiyu smiled, a hint of playfulness in her eyes. She was just as stunned as Wuqi, reborn with incredible power, and now Wuqi's hero. She felt a strange connection to him. If she hadn't already faced death and steel to resolve, she might have already passed out. The crisp sound of her voice snapped Wuqi out of it. A bit flustered, he said, "Let me give you a tour of the place." "Okay, thank you, young master." The pretty beauty replied gently, but with a hint of complaint in her voice, like 1,000 ants crawling in Wuqi's heart. Wuqi quickly got up and headed outside. Lin Daiyu followed close behind, wearing a white, long-sleeved traditional costume that fell to her knees, revealing white calves that looked like jade. Leaving the red mansion, Wuqi began to show Lin Daiyu around, explaining everything. "I just landed in the Endless Void, so we're starting from scratch. Right now, we only have a shack, level 1, some fences, level 1, and the special altar that summoned you. But I also have a barracks on hand. After taking down some void monsters and getting void crystals, we can use it. That will really boost our combat power." That Wuqi spoke animatedly. At first, he just talked about the current state of the territory. Later, he laid out his development plans, direction, and future ambitions. Territory building, farming, summoning heroes and troops, developing the army, war, territory upgrades. Wuqi's eyes shone, and he held nothing back, except for the mechanical kidney. This is one of the rules of the Endless Void. All heroes and troops summoned by the Lord maintain a certain degree of loyalty. Humans are not machines, and 100% unwavering loyalty doesn't exist. However, under the rules of the Endless Void, over countless years, no territory resident has ever actively betrayed their lord. Quite the opposite, lords often sell out and harm their residents. So, Wuqi trusted Lin Daiyu, but, seeing Wuqi pointing at the dilapidated territory with such excitement, Lin Daiyu couldn't help but smile, as if reminiscing about something. A trace of sadness flickered across her face, but she quickly smiled again. "This owner of hers seems pretty good. P.S. Lin Daiyu, please leave flower evaluations, or I'll punch you all into oblivion." Chapter 9, Monster Invasion. 1/4. Please collect. The Endless Void that is chaotic and bizarre, defying common sense. Countless universes and worlds are swallowed up by the void. Therefore, that you might encounter any kind of enemy in the Endless Void, even during the newbie trial. Protected by the rules. Wuqi didn't dare to let his guard down. The furnishings in the cabin are simple: a wooden table and chairs, a hardwood bed, a kerosene lamp, and a pot of tea. Wuqi and Lin Daiyu sat across from each other, polishing their swords, feeling excited. At school, he learned some swordsmanship skills. In reality, lords don't need to waste time learning on their own. They can quickly grow stronger by relying on their territory and their people. But Wuqi, a time traveler and novel fan in his past life, was naturally drawn to this. Lin Daiyu sat quietly opposite him, dignified and beautiful, with a slender waist. Her natural demeanor and expressive eyes radiated charm. What does it feel like to be alone with a beautiful woman? Wuqi felt incredibly nervous. On one hand, he was excited, but on the other, he felt a bit panicked. "Come on. All lust, no guts." Wuqi internally chided himself. After a moment, he forced himself to speak. "Daiyu, are you hungry?" "I won't be hungry for a while." "How about you, young master?" Lin Daiyu smiled softly. Her sweet voice sent shivers down Wuqi's spine, making him swallow hard. He was lost for words. Suddenly, Lin Daiyu frowned, turning her head to look out the door. "Sir, we have an uninvited guest." "They're here?" Wuqi's eyes lit up, and he stood up eagerly. The first wave of the newbie trial, the monster attack on day 1. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Go! Wuqi waved his hand and headed out of the hut. Just outside, he spotted 2 little monsters near the fence. They looked like 3-foot-tall dwarves, covered in blood-red skin, wielding scimitars, their faces were mean, and they had goat horns sticking out of their heads. Gah! La Caniscio, that the monsters were trying to climb the fence, but since it was part of his territory, magic kept them from getting over, so they just hacked at it with their knives. Seeing this, Wu Qi hurried over, drew his sword, and said over his shoulder, "Dayu, I'll try to hold them off. You help me set up the defense." "Okay." Lin Dayu glanced at the monsters, smiled, and agreed. Meanwhile, the two little monsters spotted Wu Qi and Lin Dayu, their eyes glowing with greed. Red-eyed, they shrieked and attacked the fence even harder. Bang! Bang! Wood chips flew as the fence's durability ticked down. Fence, level, 1, 0/50, function, all-around protection, durability, 192/200, introduction, basic defense, a new lord's best friend. The fence had only lost 8 points, which gave Wu Qi an idea of how weak these things were. Feeling bold, he hopped over the fence, sword in hand, and stared down the monsters. Seeing food delivered right to their door, they got even more excited. Laka! Nishio, that they screamed and charged, waving their knives. Clumsy steps, uneven footprints, unbalanced weight. These guys are pushovers. That Wu Qi took a deep breath, then lunged forward, taking a steady step and thrusting with his sword. Gah! That the closest monster jumped back, but still swung its sword. Bang! The blades met. The next thing it knew, something unexpected happened. Wu Qi's blade slid down its own, he twisted at the waist, and suddenly switched from a thrust to a slash. Fast, precise, and deadly. The sword sliced across the monster's neck, opening a gaping wound. Blood gushed out. It screamed, then crumpled to the ground in a twitching heap. Gah! That the other monster freaked out, its ferocious expression turning to pure terror. It spun around and bolted. But turning its back on an enemy was a death wish. Wu Qi's eyes lit up. He surged forward and stabbed, putting all his force into the blow, and buried his sword in the monster's heart. Poof! Blood sprayed, coating the sword in red. The monster shuddered, then collapsed, dead. First wave down, that Wu Qi pulled out his sword and shook off the blood, feeling pretty good. Then he saw light gathering around the monsters' bodies, turning into 2 treasure chests. This was the reward for killing the void monsters, and the key to a lord's power. Treasure chest for killing the fallen demon. Treasure chest for killing the fallen demon. Fallen demons. That Wu Qi stuck his sword in the ground and went to put the chests in his inventory. Since there were only 2 monsters in the first wave, Wu Qi relaxed a little, but just as he started to turn around, boom! A sonic boom ripped through the air, followed by a wave of scorching heat. Wu Qi spun around, and saw a fireball hurtling toward him from the darkness. P.S. The hut and fence are starter buildings and can't be upgraded. More on that later. P.S. Please follow. Please follow. Chapter 10 Dayu Goes Wild. 2/4. Please follow. Outside the territory, endless gray fog swirled. This was uncharted territory. The mist made it impossible to see. Wu Qi couldn't tell if there were more monsters hiding in the fog, but the heat from that fireball was real. Danger. Wu Qi's eyes narrowed, and he calmly backed away, planning to use the fence to block the attack, but just as the fireball hit, before Wu Qi could react, a figure flashed past him. Clang! A sword rang out, and Wu Qi's sword was snatched from his hand. The next thing he knew, the elegant Lin Dayu was standing in front of him, slashing at the fireball with his sword. Bang! The fireball exploded in a burst of fire, which was then blown away by the shockwave, revealing Lin Dayu's beautiful face. I almost forgot Dayu's got my back. Wu Qi stopped and felt a wave of relief. With that kind of firepower, he had nothing to worry about. Lin Dayu, having smashed the fireball, returned and handed back his sword. She blinked her big eyes and smiled sweetly. Here, sir. You know how to use a sword? Wu Qi asked. Lin Dayu shook her head. I don't know swordplay, I just overpower it with brute force. All right. Wu Qi took the sword, and noticed her slender fingers. They were as white as jade, the knuckles slightly bent, showing off their delicate beauty. Sir, there are more coming. Lin Daiyu smiled and noticed Wu Qi staring, but didn't make a fuss. Instead, she gave him a heads up, hearing this. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wu Qi snapped back to reality and whirled around. Through the mist, a dozen figures charged out. Most were those weak, red-skinned monsters from before, but one stood taller. It clutched a sheep's skull staff, hunched over like an old man. A magic user, that Wu Qi realized where that fireball had come from, but, while he could handle those smaller monsters, the magic user looked like a real problem. Maybe I can have Daiyu take out the magic user, and I'll deal with the little guys. Wu Qi was still mulling it over when Lin Daiyu, seeming to read his mind, smiled and said softly, Master, let me handle them. Ah. Okay. You go on ahead. Wu Qi didn't even finish his sentence before Lin Daiyu leaped forward, covering hundreds of meters in an instant, and landing right in front of the monsters. Laka. Laka. Ga. The monsters snarled, their bloodlust rising. The magic user channeled its energy, and a fireball began to spin and grow on its staff. However, the next second, boom, Lin Daiyu slammed her foot into the ground, crushing the earth. A terrifying shockwave blasted outward, sending the monsters stumbling. Several unlucky ones were struck in the head by flying gravel. The magic user, interrupted mid-spell, shrieked and nearly coughed up blood. It steadied itself and was about to resume casting when it realized its staff was gone. It looked up in shock to see a beautiful figure holding the staff, using it like a club, and bringing it down on its head. Crack, like smashing a block of tofu, the monster's head imploded. Red and white matter splattered everywhere as Lin Daiyu moved on. With each leap and bound, her staff became a deadly weapon, effortlessly tearing through the monsters' bodies. 3 seconds later, all the monsters lay dead. Lin Daiyu tossed aside the staff and returned. Young master, I have not failed you. She spoke softly, appearing fragile and helpless, a stark contrast to the scene of carnage she had just unleashed. Wu Qi silently glanced at the massive crater Lin Daiyu had created with a single step, the crack in the ground spanning 15 feet. If that hit me, Wu Qi shuddered, swallowed hard, and said awkwardly, awesome, simply awesome. The young master is too kind. Lin Daiyu said softly, her clothes spotless, not even a drop of blood on them. It was a world apart from Wu Qi's dirty appearance. Keep in mind that she had just slaughtered a dozen of them, crushing them to pieces. The comparison was striking. Lin Daiyu's speed and reflexes had been terrifying. At that moment, Wu Qi felt a surge of warmth in his heart. A message appeared. Battle concluded. Calculating results. Battle results. Enemies, 17 level 1 sinking demons, 1 level 2 sinking demon wizard. Outcome, complete victory. Rating, S level. Base reward, 18 void source stones. Bonus rewards, S level 100 void crystals, territory building, arrow tower. The results screen, right, that's what it is. Wu Qi slapped his forehead, remembering. He looked it over carefully and claimed all the rewards, storing them in his inventory. The monster invasion should be over for today, so. Time to open the treasure chests. Wu Qi grinned and ran off happily. P.S. Please add to your collection. Please add to your collection. Chapter 1, Looting the Battlefield. Barracks. 3/4. Please add to your collection. After a monster dies, its corpse turns to ash over time. It's a quirk of void monsters. Legend has it that immortals try to uncover the secrets of it, but after thousands of years they learn nothing. All they know, these monsters are probably the original residents of those broken worlds. Therefore, in the endless void, angels and demons are common. Magic, technology, cultivation. There are all kinds of monsters. The 9th volume of the People's Education Edition, Chinese textbook includes a record of a Taoist's description of the endless void. This is the tomb of all heavens and worlds, the inevitable endpoint of all things. Of course, these things are far beyond Wu Qi's current concerns. He only knows that killing void monsters gets you treasure chests and settlement rewards. 18 monsters, 18 treasure chests in total. Wu Qi retrieved them one by one. 17 were smaller, blood-red chests from the sinking demons. The fallen wizard's chest was bigger, so the rewards would definitely be better. Wu Qi took Lin Daiyu back to the territory and into the hut. He took out the treasure chests, one by one, and lined them up. Time to see what kind of luck I've got. That Wu Qi chuckled and rubbed his hands. Lin Daiyu, seeing this, sat down and glanced at the boxes with her beautiful eyes. Let's do this. In his previous life, Wu Qi loved opening loot boxes and drawing cards. He had played many games like this and spent a fortune. Now, he opened all the boxes at once. Received, 2 void crystals. Received, 1 void crystal, 1 void origin stone. Received, 3 void crystals. Received, 1 void crystal. Received, 2 void crystals, 500 grams of gold. Received, 2 void crystals, scimitar. Received, 7 void crystals, arrow tower. A series of prompts popped up, then, a pile of void crystals, 1 void origin stone, a scimitar, and a small building model appeared on the table. Jackpot. Wu Qi was excited. He had brushed up on his knowledge of newcomer trial. Chapter 9. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Normally, you get 1 to 3 void crystals when you kill a monster like that 99% of the time. He actually got the 1% drop 3 times. Talk about lucky. After counting, that's 28 void crystals in total. Wu Qi swiped them into his inventory, along with the void source stone. Then, he picked up the machete, level 1. Quality, gray, properties, none, introduction. What do you expect from a drop off a monster you can one-shot? Crap. Wu Qi's face fell. He immediately noticed Lin Daiyu looking at him, surprised. Ahem. I meant grass. Like, the plant. Wu Qi said, trying to look serious. Lin Daiyu smiled, her eyes twinkling. Young master, do what you want. Even in high society, plenty of people swear when they're frustrated. Wu Qi coughed, quickly stood up, and said, let's go build something outside. As you wish. In the territory, 200 square meters isn't that big. After the hut and the red building, there wasn't much space left. Wu Qi took out 3 architectural models, barracks, and 2 arrow towers. All right. Wu Qi grabbed the barracks, and tossed it next to the hut. The model expanded in mid-air, growing bigger and bigger until it became a small tent next to the hut. Barracks, plus, level, 1, 0/100, function, recruit troops, militia, 1, introduction, militia are basically farmers with spears. Don't expect much. Oh great, militia. Wu Qi sighed. Most new players' initial companions are the militia. The teachers recommend using the barracks, at the start, trading 10 void crystals for 10 militiamen, and then using them to overwhelm enemies and easily beat the first wave. After getting the reward, recruit more militiamen the next day, and keep fueling the war effort. Later, you'll get heroes, stronger units, and more buildings. It's the best, most reliable way for beginners to start. Of course, if you're normal. Well, I'm screwed. Wu Qi thought, and clicked the plus sign. Instantly, a rainbow light washed over the barracks. After a moment, the light faded, revealing the building. It had a rough, primal style, round, and looked like a greenhouse. Is this a barbarian style? Or maybe snowmen, rock people, stone demons, wood demons? Wu Qi mused, then opened the attribute panel of the new barracks. Steel armored hut, building type, barracks, level, 1, 0/200, function, recruit troops, steel armored wild boar, 5, introduction, the wild boar covered in steel armor is the tank of the wild boar herd. Wu Qi. Chapter 12 Defense Towers, evolved. A strange chill filled the air. Lin Daiyu felt it, but wasn't scared. She stared at Wu Qi and the barren territory, feeling warmth in her heart. This place was nowhere near as nice as the Jia Mansion, but the Jia Mansion wasn't her home. This was. Seeing Wu Qi working on the building, Lin Daiyu couldn't look away, and smiled. She leaned gently against his back, like a newlywed wife. She noticed Wu Qi staring into space, saying weird stuff like Peppa the Pig and When Pigs Fly. Seemed like he was seriously affected. Worried, Lin Daiyu hesitated, then reached out and took one of Wu Qi's fingers. "Sir, is something wrong?" Her soft voice snapped Wu Qi back to reality. His face twitched. "It's nothing, it's just that this barracks is a bit much." "Oh." Lin Daiyu thought the soldiers were too weak, and Wu Qi was worried, so she softly said, "You don't need soldiers. I'll protect you, young master." That's not what I meant." Wu Qi was about to explain when he felt the warmth between his fingers. A strange feeling washed over him. He opened his hand, and clasped his fingers with Sister Lin's, taking advantage of the moment. Their palms together, warmth chased away the chill. It flowed through their hearts. Lin Daiyu's eyes seemed misty, filled with shyness, but she was worried she might hurt Wu Qi if she pulled away, so she pretended not to notice and let him hold her hand. "Ahem, no fighting today. Let's wait until tomorrow to summon Peppa Pig. I mean, steel-armored wild boars." Wu Qi said, smiling. He looked around, and through the two arrow towers. The models rose in the wind and landed in two corners of the territory. Arrow Tower Plus, Level, 1, 0/100, Function, Arrows, 1 shot/second, Stock, 100/100. Range, 200 meters. Introduction, a basic defense building. The arrows are about as powerful as those shot by a 10-year-old. Both buildings had the same attributes, and both had plus signs. Too bad the hut and fence existed before I got the mechanical kidney, so they can't be upgraded. Wu Qi thought, being greedy for a moment. Without hesitation, he clicked the plus signs. Instantly, two rainbow lights enveloped the arrow towers. "What will the arrow towers become?" Wu Qi asked, excited. He gripped the beauty's hand beside him a little tighter. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The five-color divine light faded. Both arrow towers had changed, but what really surprised Wu Qi was how differently they'd changed. They mutated into completely different structures. Gotta make a note of this. Looks like the altar and the barracks will do the same. Wu Qi opened the attribute panel of one of the new towers, examining it closely. Fire Explosion Tower, Type, Defense Tower, Level, 1, 0/200, Function, Pyroblast, 1 shot/10 seconds, Stock, 10 out of 10. Attack range, 500 meters. Description, a powerful explosive. It's an elemental tower, magic style. Wu Qi's eyes lit up, a grin spreading across his face. He remembered reading about them. Elemental towers were pretty common. Defense-wise, once built, they could unleash various magical attacks to protect your territory and blast enemies. You typically see flame towers, ice towers, thunder towers, and stuff like that. His pyroblast tower was relatively rare. The pyroblast technique it fired was way more powerful than any arrow. Of course, the 10-second delay and limited stock were definite downsides. Still, not bad. Wu Qi nodded, satisfied, and turned his attention to the other tower, Stinky Fart Tower, Type, Defense Tower, Level, 1, 0/200, Function, Weak Fart, 1 shot/second, Stock, 100/100. Attack range, 200 meters. Description, Run. This fart is poisonous. Wu Qi just stared, speechless. What was this bizarre contraption? First Peppa Pig, now Splatoon. What the hell? Wu Qi took a deep breath, fighting back the urge to gag. He had no idea if it was powerful, but this defense tower was seriously, the pits. Beyond words. Whatever, I'll see what it can do tomorrow. Alright, Daiyu, let's get some sleep. I mean, rest. Chapter 13, The Second Wave. 1/4, please vote. Back in the shack. Wu Qi lit the kerosene lamp, bathing the room in a dim yellow glow. He pulled out 2 portions of food and set them on the table. Steamed buns, beef jerky, and a few sides. It's nothing fancy, but it'll do. He gestured for Dayu to sit and smiled. Lin Dayu nodded, gracefully took a seat, picked up a steamed bun, and took a tiny bite. Thanks to his inventory, the food stayed fresh, so the buns were practically fresh-baked, not hard at all. She frowned slightly, as if she wasn't used to it, but she didn't complain, quietly continuing to eat. They quickly finished dinner. Wu Qi poured 2 glasses of water, handed one to her, and said, "Once I build a restaurant or a decent hotel, we can get some real food, maybe even some with special properties." "I look forward to it," Lin Dayu replied with a sweet smile, her soft voice tugging at his heartstrings. Wu Qi's heart skipped a beat. He cleared his throat and pulled out a special timer. The endless void was unpredictable. There was no guarantee of sun, day, or night. It all depended on where each lord landed. He'd heard stories of some lords landing in a place with perpetual daylight. They ended up getting roasted alive. Some only lasted minutes before having to return. Then there were those like Wu Qi, who landed in a strange place, unable to see the sky and tell the time. This mechanical timer wasn't a special item, but it was damn useful. "It's 11 p.m. Think we should turn in?" Wu Qi asked, swallowing hard. "Does the young master need a warm bed?" Lin Dayu asked, her beautiful eyes sparkling with an unreadable expression. She wasn't offended, but she was definitely teasing him. Wu Qi blushed and stammered, "How about you take the bed, and I'll sleep on the floor?" "No way," Lin Dayu said firmly, her eyes gentle as water. "If the young master doesn't mind me." How could I?" "I'm your lord," Wu Qi protested weakly, hesitated, and then lay down on the hardwood bed. The cottage might have been a dump, but it was still territorial property. It wasn't cold inside. He closed his eyes. After a few minutes, he felt a warm, fragrant body settle beside him. Whether it was exhaustion or the comfort of having a super warrior by his side, Wu Qi drifted off to sleep. The next day, the kerosene lamp had long burned out. In the dim cabin, Wu Qi slowly woke up, blinking in confusion. He quickly gathered his bearings and took a deep breath. A pleasant aroma filled his nostrils, like ginseng and goji berries. It made his body tingle with warmth. He turned his head. Lin Dayu was still sound asleep. She must have taken out her hairpin before bed. Her long hair was slightly tangled, draped over half her ear. There was a peaceful look on her beautiful face. With each breath, her slender body rose and fell gently. Under the thin sleeves, her skin glowed like white jade. "I passed out as soon as I hit the hay last night." Staring at the sleeping beauty beside him, Wu Qi couldn't help but slap himself. "Darn it! What a wimp!" Wu Qi carefully got out of bed, gazed at her delicate face, and couldn't resist leaning down to kiss her. His heart pounded in his chest, and he didn't have time to process the emotion. He grabbed the timer and hurried out. Click, star, the doors shut. In the dark cabin, Lin Dayu opened her eyes, a hint of shyness in their depths. A blush crept up her fair neck. As delicate and pink as a flower. 9:20 a.m. "I slept that late." Wu Qi pocketed the timer, grabbed his toothbrush and toothpaste, and started brushing his teeth by the fence.